In 1998, Jeffrey Epstein purchased Little St. James in the U.S. Virgin Islands for approximately $7.95 million. At the time, Epstein was already managing tens of millions of dollars for Les Wexner, the billionaire founder of L Brand. By 1999, Epstein's financial advisory firm was processing over $10 million per month in client transfers. In 2000, the Manhattan townhouse he owned on East 71st Street was valued at roughly $65 million. By 2019, that same property had skyrocketed in value to $77 million. Epstein's Palm Beach mansion, purchased in 1990 for $2.5 million, was valued at $12 million 2 decades later. Zorro Ranch in New Mexico, acquired in 1997 for $10 million, had an estimated value of $17 million by 2019. Epstein's network of wealth was staggering. Between 1999 and 2018, he earned approximately $490 million in management fees. Nearly $200 million of that came from Wexner alone. Leon Black of Apollo Global Management reportedly paid Epstein around $170 million. Beyond these figures, additional investments, offshore accounts, and consulting fees may have added $310 million more. Epstein's effective tax rate in the U.S. Virgin Islands was approximately 4%, saving him roughly $300 million in taxes over 2 decades, while top federal rates hovered around 39%. By 21st century standards, Epstein controlled over $1 billion in assets, spanning properties, offshore accounts, investments, private jets, yachts, and rare art. His investments in Valar Ventures in 2015, totaling $40 million, grew to $170 million within 10 years. His banking relationships included JP Morgan Chase, Deutsche Bank, Wells Fargo, and First Bank Puerto Rico. Wire transfers through these accounts sometimes exceeded $50 million in a single day. Little St. James itself, purchased for $7.95 million, became a central hub. By 2019, its estimated value was $64 million. Great St. James, acquired for $25.8 million, combined with Little St. James to create assets worth over $86 million. Epstein's Manhattan townhouse was valued at $77 million, featuring 21 bedrooms, multiple lounges, a private indoor pool, and rare art collections. The Palm Beach mansion was worth $12 million, with 9 bedrooms, 12 bathrooms, guest quarters, tennis courts, and gardens. Zorro Ranch covered 10,000 acres, with multiple homes, recreational facilities, and areas for ranching. Offshore accounts, shell companies, and nominee directors allowed Epstein to obscure the ownership of nearly every asset. His total net worth, combining documented assets and hidden wealth, may have exceeded $2 billion. Investments, luxury assets, and property allowed Epstein to maintain influence across continents. Epstein's financial empire extended beyond real estate. Accounts processed over $1 billion in transactions through major banks. Investments in venture capital and hedge funds, including Valar Ventures, grew tens of millions of dollars into hundreds of millions over a decade. Trusts and foundations continued to manage hundreds of millions even as legal troubles mounted. By the time Epstein's legal issues became public in 2006, his financial machinery was already highly complex. He maintained control of properties, investments, and offshore accounts, while shell companies obscured ownership. His network included private jets valued at over $100 million, yachts worth tens of millions, luxury cars, and rare art. Every figure from Little St. James at $64 million to Manhattan townhouse at $77 million reflects a deliberate accumulation strategy designed to maintain privacy and influence. Even after his incarceration in 2018, the machinery of Epstein's wealth remained operational. Accounts continued to transfer millions, trusts managed assets, and shell companies shielded ownership. Analysts estimate that while his publicly documented estate was $560 million, the hidden portion likely exceeded $2 billion. In 2000, Epstein reportedly acquired a Boeing 737 jet valued at $40 million. By 2014, he had a Gulfstream 400 jet added to his fleet, worth approximately $65 million. Epstein also owned luxury cars, including a Ferrari F430 valued at $300,000, a Bentley Continental valued at $350,000, and multiple Rolls-Royces totaling over $1 million. Epstein's art collection included pieces by Picasso, Modigliani, and Andy Warhol, collectively valued at over $40 million. Investments in rare collectibles and gemstones added another $10 million. His portfolio also contained private equity stakes in tech startups and biotech ventures, collectively worth over $120 million. U.S. Virgin Islands holdings were strategically important. Epstein's financial firm, located on Little St. James, processed wire transfers exceeding $20 million monthly. Great St. James provided a secondary base where trusts and shell companies were coordinated. These islands alone represented liquidity and influence valued at over $86 million, separate from the rest of his estate. Epstein's relationship with Leslie Wexner is particularly notable. Wexner granted Epstein power of attorney over nearly all of his financial assets. This included properties valued at over $100 million, investments totaling more than $200 million, and personal assets including yachts, cars, and art. Epstein had the ability to move, invest, or sell these assets at his discretion, effectively controlling a vast fortune on behalf of Wexner. By 2015, Epstein's personal investments in Valar Ventures, private equity, and hedge funds had grown to a combined estimated value of $370 million. Offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands and Switzerland held over $200 million, obscured through complex ownership structures and nominee directors. Epstein's tax strategy reportedly saved him $300 million in federal and local taxes over 2 decades. Even as legal scrutiny increased, Epstein's assets continued to be managed and protected. Trusts maintained holdings in real estate, investments, and luxury items. Shell companies in jurisdictions such as the British Virgin Islands and Panama obscured ownership and facilitated the transfer of funds. Analysts suggest that at least $1 billion remained shielded from public knowledge at the time of his death. Epstein's ability to maintain secrecy was amplified by his use of multiple banks, offshore accounts, and complex corporate structures. Deutsche Bank reportedly processed over $50 million in wires between 2000 and 2018, while JP Morgan Chase managed over $40 million in client transactions related to Epstein. First Bank Puerto Rico handled millions in monthly transfers for his Caribbean holdings. Luxury assets reinforced Epstein's financial influence. Little St. James and Great St. James were worth over $86 million combined. Manhattan Townhouse at $77 million, Palm Beach Mansion at $12 million, and Zorro Ranch at $17 million created a property empire worth over $192 million. Jets, cars, and art added hundreds of millions more. Private equity stakes and hedge fund investments accounted for over $400 million. Epstein's personal capital in Valar Ventures, tech startups, and biotech ventures exceeded $200 million. Collectively, the combination of real estate, liquid assets, and hidden investments likely surpassed $2 billion. Even minor assets were strategically leveraged. A yacht in the Caribbean valued at $15 million was used for both personal and business purposes. Rare jewelry and art sales provided liquidity for transactions. Luxury cars provided mobility and social signaling, while offshore accounts ensured confidentiality. By 1999, Epstein was already a figure of immense financial influence. Managing Wexner's fortune alone placed him among the most powerful private financiers in the world. Combined with his own assets and networks, Epstein exercised control over billions of dollars in both visible and hidden wealth. Thank you for watching. If you want to uncover more hidden stories behind the world's wealth and power, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. There's a lot more the world doesn't want you to know.